We are on chapter 11, section 1. We are talking about three-dimensional figures again, but this time a cross section. So a cross section of a three-dimensional shape means that I slice using a plane, a flat surface. I slice through a shape and it goes all the way through. And as you can see, there's pictures here. And it creates a new shape. So obviously when I make a cross section out of a cube, the result, the cross section is a square. The shape that's created is a square. But what's different is if I were to create a cross section. So I have a pyramid. So lots of triangles, but even still, if I create a cross section, my cross section would be a rectangle. Do you see how it would be a rectangle if I cut through it? I'm sorry, a square, the shape of the base. And then the only other one that's kind of cone. So in a cone, I can do a cross section straight through horizontally, that would be a circle. If I did a cross section straight down, I would get a triangle. So vertically cross section would make a triangle. So we're going to talk about cross sections today. We're going to practice drawing. So a cross section is going to be where the intersection of a solid, so this shape, a solid figure, three-dimensional figure, the intersection of a solid and a plane. The intersection of a solid and a plane. Okay. So with that, I need to actually scroll down. So you got the definition. A polyhedron is a many-sided shape. So I could say that a polyhedron is a cube. A polyhedron is a cylinder. These two lessons, yesterday and today, the thing that we're leading up to is finding volume of a shape or surface area. Volume, like there's a little like opening, if I filled this up with water, the volume would be calculated. Surface area is if I wrapped this in wrapping paper, or I did one coat of paint on all the sides, how much would cover the space? So that's what this chapter is about. So learning about the basics of three-dimensional shapes is really important. So the orange line is the cross section, and that's what's going to cut through a shape. This is a square pyramid. And as you can see, the cross section makes a square. And it asks us, name the shape that is formed by the cross section. So that's a square. A rectangular prism, two squares on the top and bottom and four rectangles, is also a cross section that is a square. This is a pentagonal prism, and I have one. A pentagonal prism. Two pentagons. That word, the pentagon, the shape that's at the base, that's what defines what kind of prism it is. Pentagonal prism. And then the rest are rectangles. And there's 5 rectangles because there's 5 edges, right? So the shape that is made in the cross section is a pentagon. Here, another pyramid, but vertically, a triangle is the cross section. Rectangular prism, vertical cross section would be a rectangle. And then a cylinder, horizontal cross section through the orange, a circle is inside. Okay. So easy, right? Down below, I have a pretty complicated shape. So the color really helps. My students here have black and white, but at least you can see the color on the screen, right? So that's not bad. Now, my plane M slices down through the vertex, straight down vertically. My orange plane N slices horizontally. Now you're probably wondering, what's the shape? It is a square pyramid. And yeah, I only have one. Bummer. One pyramid's on top, and then there's a pyramid underneath it. That's where the 8 sides come in. 4 sides on this top pyramid, and then underneath 4 sides on the bottom pyramid. Octahedron. So it's asking us, what is the shape formed by plane M, which is blue? So when I cut, what shape? Now remember, this blue plane goes from the top down to the bottom. There's 2 pyramids stuck together. What shape is made when I cut vertically?
A kite?
A kite. I'm going to call it a rhombus just for, yes, you're right. It's a kite. The only reason I'm like really not a big fan of the word kite is because a kite could have 2 short sides and then 2 longer sides. That could be a kite. But whereas I know that all 4 sides are equal when I say rhombus. Okay, plane N is orange. Okay, plane N is orange. This is just a horizontal halfway through, so maybe my hand. So what shape would be formed with my hand if I cut through the cross section? It's just a square, whatever the base of my shape is. Square. Good. Easy. Now art class begins. Yay. So this is, there's a lot happening here. We're gonna draw the shape. I'll give you a little lesson. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe you already know how to draw shapes like this. Here's what I'm wanting. The front lines that we would see first, the 3-dimensional front lines, those are going to be solid black. And then the lines in the background, those are going to be the dotted lines. So if I'm going to make just a plain old cube, if you want to watch and follow along with me, you can. Otherwise, you can just go ahead. But I'm going to make my cube 4 equal sides. And my cube is going to have solid line offshoots, like same distancing, like that. So those are solid lines. Another solid line I have would be the vertical line in the back edge and the top back. So far, this is it. Making my dotted lines. It's going to be I can make a parallel line like this, but I'm not going to go too far back because my back bottom connects to it. So I've got my back bottom and my back left. And then my upwards, that also. A vertical cross section is going to be the square. A horizontal cross section would also be a square because this is a cube. A rectangular prism is just a standard box, can be any height, but the rectangle is in the forefront. And once again, from the solid lines, I'll get 3 that I can do. Let me make sure. You should be doing this with a pencil. I hope that you are. Then I'll connect. And ready? My back dotted lines. That's okay. That's decent. Vertically, the cross section would be a square. Do you see that? Vertically cutting through, I would have a square. However, horizontally would be what shape? Someone tell me. Rectangle. Tetrahedron, square pyramid. Okay. So, front, just a triangle. Okay. Okay. I'm going to have a slant line that goes down like this and is pretty short. So something like that would be a good line to draw. I'll connect these two because this is flat on the ground. See, this is going to be flat surface, flat surface. I'm going to choose to finish off my square base first. Finishing off my square base is dotted lines. And that is really bad. So this is why an eraser and a pencil is really good. And then, I don't know. Try your best. Do what you can do. Vertically, up and down, what shape am I going to have? Vertical cross section. Triangle. And this is good because it's different. Someone on Zoom. Horizontally, what's my cross section? On Zoom.
Square.
Square, thank you. Good. I have one more. It's the hardest one. Save the best for last, right? Can I scroll down? a pentagonal prism. A pentagon is on the base, and then rectangles are formed. Here's one. So obviously when we draw a three-dimensional shape on paper, we have to give it some tilt to show that it has 3 dimensions. My first image to make, and let me show you a completely different way that people draw. They'll draw a pentagon, which by the way, a pentagon has a pointy top, and a hexagon starts with a flat top. Okay. Okay, here's another way that people can draw 3-dimensional shapes. You draw one pentagon in front, and then I'm going to draw another pentagon like to the upper right of it. And ideally, oh, see, so bad. So if I make it, all right, I can do this. And then you connect it like this. Bottom right goes to bottom right. The right corner goes to the right corner. Top goes to top. Can you see that? And if you needed it to be dotted, I would dot the back lines. Is that, are your brains seeing that? Okay. Anyways, vertically, when I do a cross section of a pentagonal prism, I'm going to get a pentagon. But horizontally, something different. Horizontal, it's something different. What is it?
A rectangle.
A rectangle. Good. Okay. The last thing I want to show you is just playing around with shapes. If I have a triangle, oh, okay. And I rotated my triangle and I created a 3-dimensional figure. What shape am I forming right now? Cone? You guys, you're on Zoom, is it a cone?
A cone.
Cone, yep. Cone. Good. Good, good. So, cross sections. I'm gonna have you practice now. And again, like, keep practicing drawing shapes. I want them to look good. So I will stop the recording.